My father-in-law was a 1st Marine Division, he volunteered in November 1939. He went in, only the reason he went in there was no work in America, and he's looked at, I get fed, I get clothed, and I've got everything I need here, so I don't need anything, you know, so that's what he moved in for. Not knowing there was going to be a war, he didn't know that. His first mission that he was done, he was trained in Bainbridge in Maryland, and his first mission that he had, he was on guard duty at Midway Island. Now there was only a handful of 1st Marine Division men went to Midway Island as guards, as the construction crew went in and built an airport. They couldn't work out why were they building an airport, you know, in 1940, they couldn't work it out. But anyhow, they built this airport out on an atoll, and the first bombers were coming in. The commanding officer said, you're not allowed to shoot any of the dodo birds because they're protected. Bombers started landing, bombers started crashing. They started going into the birds. Come over the loudspeaker, every Marine start shooting the birds. So they started shooting the birds because they had to get these bombers in. They got them in, and then in 1941, he was taken off the island and sent to Pearl Harbor. He was at Pearl Harbor on the Sunday, then it was bombed, and he was down, it was Hickman Field, and there was bombs raining down, and him and a couple of other guys jumped out of their beds, jumped outside, had a look, jumped into a couple of tankers and moved them away, not knowing that they were fuel tankers. So they got heroic medals for that, for getting the tankers out of the way, saving the field, because it would have been a bigger inferno if they had got hit. And then the rest of the day, he and 2 other guys that he was with spent all the time supplying water to the hospital, because the hospital lost all its water. So they just continually kept on getting water to the hospital. So after that, they were regrouped. He regrouped with his 1st Marine Division. The rest of the other guys, they regrouped. And he was in the first attack of Guadalcanal. And he went in to Guadalcanal, and same as Harry, he ended up getting all the malaria, the dengue fever, he got everything. And after they'd taken Guadalcanal, he ended up coming back to New Zealand, went to Silverstream Hospital. He was up there for quite a few months, and then he was discharged, and he went to Judford for a couple of weeks, we found out, and then back up to hospital for another little bout, and then out to Mackay's Crossing. He trained in the Mackay's Crossing. In the meantime, they all had their leavers, you know, and there are all stories about how they used to chase women and didn't chase women, but I believe that a lot of them chased women. But Pop went to town with a friend of his, and this friend of his was conning up my wife and his sister and brother's mother, and Pop sort of liked this lady, so the next day he went back and conned her up. Well, he went back and he used to take in the Camel cigarettes and the chocolate and the silk stockings and whatever he could get his hands on. Well, he ended up, Pop and Joyce got married, and they got married on September the 11th in 1943, and he got 3 days leave, and they had their first night at the Cambridge Hotel. Well, if the walls could talk, you know, that's what I always said to them. And, but then he had 3 days. And he was ordered to get back to camp, and because they were going to be shipped out, but they didn't know where they were going to be shipped out to. All they knew that they were going to be shipped out, and they were shipped out, and they were shipped to Tarawa, and it was one of those bloodiest battles. Now, when Pop landed in Tarawa, he had quite a lot of clothing with him, because when he was in Guadalcanal, he learned a lesson that your boots get ruined, your shirt gets ruined, your pants get ruined. So he carried a lot of gear with him. More gear than the average Marine was carrying, because he thought, I'm not going to get caught out this time. And when it came to the first night of sleeping, he tied his bootlaces from his spare boots that he had with him through this trigger, trigger of his rifle, around his neck. And he said nobody could steal him, because anyone come to get my boots, I'll shoot him. That was his first thing. There was a guy there that was very wealthy. He came from a very wealthy family, and he offered Pop quite a small fortune in those days for his boots and his pants and all that. And he said, "Go to hell." He said, "You know, I know where I'm, where I'm going, and I want to make sure I've got good feet and dry feet." Because he ended up having fungus problems too, you know, a little bit in his toes. So he realised you need dry feet. So he survived. You go through all that side of it, and Pop didn't know where he went a lot of places, because to him it was just a South Pacific cruise. You got up in the morning, they said, get on that boat. And you went to another island, get on that boat. You went to another, hadn't a clue. So he just travelled all around the place, did a thing, ended up back in the States, had some leave.